Hi, so this may be one of those things in Cubase that you never knew was there, even if you've been using Cubase for over 15 years. So let's check it out and let's go. So a couple of weeks ago, or maybe it was even last week, I never know when I release these videos, but I recently made a video on how I try to clone my Hammer hardware equalizer by means of Waves Q-Clone. And if you haven't seen that video, I'll link it in the description below. But for part of that video, I need to do effects routing in a certain way. Let's have a quick look. So this is a project that I used for the clone video. And as part of that video, I cloned the left and the right side of my equalizer as a separate Waves Q-Clone preset. And in order to use that on a track, I had to use 2 instances of Waves Q-Clone, because you can only load one preset into Waves Q-Clone, so only one of the channels of my equalizer. So because I still wanted to use the separate presets for the left and right channel, I used Waves Studio Rack and I put a split in there, basically splitting the stereo signal that was coming in on the left and right channel. And then I put a Waves Q-Clone instance on both sides. One Q-Clone instance was loaded with the preset that I made of the left channel of my equalizer, and the other Q-Clone instance was loaded with the preset that I made of my right channel of the equalizer. Now what I'm going to show you in this video is that I didn't actually need Waves Studio Rack for this, because you can do it right in Cubase. Let's have a look. So this is another Waves Q-Clone project on which I have a track called Rack. And this is a track from Streambeats, who provide copyright-free music for content creators. And let's imagine that I wanted to put the mix bus settings of my cloned equalizer on there. So I can go to the Edit Channel Settings, and in the inserts I can put my 2 Waves Q-Clone instances, and I will put 2 mono plugins in there. One of which I will load with the left channel clone of my hardware equalizer, and the other one I will load with the right channel of my cloned hardware equalizer. Now, as you may know or not, is because I'm putting mono instances of this plugin on a stereo track, the way it's set up now, they will only affect the left channel of my stereo track. So that's not what I want. I want one of them to affect the left channel of my stereo track and the other one to affect the right channel of my stereo track. And there is actually something in Cubase for that, which is called the inserts routing. And over here you can see that I have 2 Q-Clone mono plugins loaded in insert slot 1 and insert slot 2. And by the little diagram you can see that both have been inserted on the left channel. However, you can change that, because over here you can go to the routing editor, and it shows you again a bit larger that the actual effect, which is the gray band here, has been inserted on the left channel, and on the right channel basically the inputs and outputs of this insert slot have been connected, so the plugin is not affecting the right channel in this case. But you can change that by moving the plugin to the right, and you want to enable link, because that means that both the input as well as the output are moved to the right. You could also click on top here, because they're both linked. And what you now have is that one plugin is on the left channel of my stereo channel and one plugin is on the right channel of my stereo channel. So if I now play the track, I have my cloned hardware equalizer where the left and right channel are slightly different.
Something's wrong, I feel it circling like vultures around my brain. Couldn't see the danger in your eyes. Draw me in, got me spinning now like water to a drain. You were perfect till I realized you hadn't shown your face.
The effect is subtle, of course, it's mix bus processing, but the routing is exactly as I want it, right in Cubase. Now before I go on to show you how to use this in some other ways, if you like this video or find it useful, I would appreciate it if you push the like button, subscribe to the channel and ring the little bell icon if you want to know when I publish another video. That all helps to spread this video to more people so more can enjoy this content. And if you want to support the channel even more and you are about to buy anything at these stores, for Christmas for example, then you can click the affiliate links in the description to any of these stores and I will get a small commission of what you buy without any additional cost to you. And it's not just about the products that I have links to in the description, any products at those stores are okay. So let's get back to Cubase effects routing. Let's have a look at how to creatively use this routing to get an effects chain on a guitar track. So over here I have a guitar track playing a little funk guitar riff. And even though this is a stereo track, the actual information in this channel is pretty much mono. If you look at this with the True Balance plugin that I recently reviewed. Every once in a while the width of the high frequencies here goes to 1, but that's about it, so quite mono this track. So let's try to make it a bit more stereo. We open the channel settings and let's put a flanger in the first slot. Let's only apply this to the left channel. So we put mono in here and you see the routing editor. The effect is now only on the left channel, and on the right channel signal passes through without being affected. Let's shortly listen to this. And if I look at true balance again, you can see that all frequency bands now provide stereo information. So let's even make it more interesting by putting a delay in there. Let's choose a mono delay by waves. And this delay I only want to put on the right channel. So I double click to open the routing editor and I move the plugin to the right side. Let's see what this sounds like. Yeah, quite interesting. And by the way, to make clear how the routing editor works, if I open this again, you can see that you can also unlink the inputs and outputs. So if I then, for example, push this output to the left button, you can see that the right input channel is routed to H delay, but the output of H delay is put on the left channel again, together with the direct signal of the left channel. So that sounds like this. Obviously, you're not hearing anything on the right channel anymore because the signal was interrupted here. Everything is now routed to the left channel. It doesn't really make sense in this case, but just to make you aware of the routing editor. But let's get back to H delay on the right side. And let's now enhance this stereo signal a bit with a recent free plugin from Waves, the Magma Little Tube Stereo. So in this case, I'm going to affect both the left and right channel to make it a bit more gritty with this tube plugin. So let's listen to the difference. Yeah, quite a nice effect chain with some different processing on the left and right side. Now you can also do this on an effect channel, of course. Let's have a look at that. And I've removed the inserts on the funk guitar lick now. Let's add an effect channel track. And let's not put any effect on there to begin with, but it will be a reverb effect. Channel settings of the reverb channel. And let's put some Cubase native reverb on there by means of reverence. For example, an LA Studio reverb. And let's actually route that to the left side only. And let's put another reverence instance on there and use a whole different reverb. For example, Artverb. And let's listen to what that sounds like without the initial reverb. Well, quite different. And what we can now do is that we can route the second reverb, make it mono, and just route it to the right side. And if we now turn on both, we have a pretty complex reverb, which is quite different on the left and right side of the stereo channel. So it's really up to your own imagination of how you can use this. But you can definitely build much more complex routings than you might think. Now, where this really comes into play is when you're doing a Dolby ATMOS mix, of course, where you have many, many more channels. If we look at a short example of that. Now, this is an example project that I used for my Dolby ATMOS video. And if you want to check out that, I will link it in the description below. But the whole reason why I want to show you this particular project is because there is a multi-channel configuration track in here called the ATMOS BAT, and that has a configuration of 7.1.2, so more than just 2 stereo channels basically. And if I open the channel setting of that, you can see that there's also a very nice 3D panner in there. And this is where the effects routing really becomes very handy, because if I put another reverb effect in here, the LX480 Essentials from Relab Development, for example, and I look at the routing of this, you can see that this is basically a stereo effect. So it's only put on the main left and right channel of this 7.1.2 configuration. All the other channels in this track are not affected. There's many presets that you can use, but if we just open the routing editor, the effect is just on the main left and right channel. But I could now also move that. For example, I can move it to the left and right side channels only. So now you would only hear this reverb on the left and right side channels in my 7.1.2 Atmos bed configuration. And also for other sound design duties for movies, you can imagine that it could be very nice to have your effects only come from certain areas in the whole soundstage that you're mixing. Now, if you like these kinds of deep dives into Cubase functionality, I have a whole playlist with videos like this. Check it out, enjoy, and see you soon.